Well, back for another installment of Geographers and Places, Chico State Geographers and Places. And I'm learning a little bit more about this gimbal. And I've been trying to teach you a little bit more about this place and how a geographer views a place. Specifically, I've been showing you my mother's childhood place, and I guess we could say me and my brother's grandchildren's place. And so we're here in the Florida parishes of Louisiana. And today I got a little bit of a late start. So, no, I got up early, but my mom had some jobs for me. But today what I'm gonna do is bring you over to, because it's like 8 o'clock. It's already getting hot. So I'm gonna go into a shady spot, which is this creek, which was another main playground for my brothers and I as children. And I'm gonna be showing you the effects of gully erosion, which occurred 90 years ago when my grandfathers and farmers like him were growing cotton and leaving their fields exposed to torrential rainfall. And the result was water cut deeply into the low hills around here. And so I'm going to take you to our own little Grand Canyon. Won't take long to get there. Walking through the creek or the gully might take a while. It's been, I don't know, it's been like a year since I've been there. Maybe we'll see some snakes, turtles, fallen logs. Certainly there'll be horseflies. But let's go out and get in some shade and see what we can find. I decided to take you on a trip. Walking down Folly Brown Road. It's been graveled my whole life, which is kind of strange because my grandfather was a farmer, but he also had a day job, and he worked on the parish road crew. But for some reason, during his life, while gravel roads throughout the parish were getting paved, asphalted, the road he lived on, well, you see, it never did get that. On both sides, it's still part of the family farm. And let's see, how am I gonna get down into this place? It used to be easy as a child. It's hard to even see the bridge anymore. Wow. Guess, this was unexpected. I'm walking on a bridge over the creek. Let's see if this is where I'll access the creek. Yep, I need to get down there. So I'm gonna turn this off for a little bit while I navigate the drop. See you in a little bit. Well, it turns out it wasn't that hard to get down here. Got a few scrapes. There's some blackberry bushes back there that I couldn't quite avoid. The blackberry bushes got a lot of thorns. I have learned that, or been reminded that horseflies and mosquitoes also like the shade. And so I put on a long sleeve shirt, put on my hat, and we're gonna explore this creek gully, which was a playground for my brothers and I. Wow, 50 years ago. 50 years ago, this was a deeper channel. There was actually water flowing in it. There were pebbles in the creek, rocks, and we could dam up the creek, just basically playing in the shade in the water. And what's happened in the space of 50 years is this creek's base level, or the channel bottom, has been lifted by deposits of this sand that you see here. And I associate that with changing land use. 50 years ago, the watershed, or this creek's watershed, was primarily a pastured watershed. So there was grazing cattle, there were farmers growing hay. Now this is a pulpwood watershed where there's pine trees growing on either side, and every 8 years, I explained in another installment, those pulpwood forests are cleared, which exposes bare earth to the torrential rainfalls we get down here, and greater erosion, greater deposition in this creek. That's my hunch. But if we walk maybe 20 minutes, I can bring you to a place where this is a deep channel, and we'll be looking at a material very different from sand. But I need to turn off the camera for that, because hearing me breathe heavily as I walk, not much fun. Well, that's just been a couple minutes of walking, and you can see that the banks have gotten steeper and the channel's gotten deeper. And let's zoom in. Let's see what I'm getting ready to traverse up here. That is a tree that has sloughed off the side, and I'm looking at it. It looks like a sweet gum. No, that's not a sweet gum. Sweet gum's behind it. Don't know if these are the results of Hurricane Ida or simply just erosion along this stream. And you see that red colored soil that trees, wait a minute, that the tree's roots are holding on to. That's a red clay that's characteristic of this landscape. Now I'm going to show you how that's become a economic resource for the family. But we need to walk a little bit further, and I need to get around that stump. Not that stump, that root ball. There's the red clay I was talking about. As most of you know, Louisiana is not a high relief state. Our highest elevation is 535 feet above sea level, and it's on a clay hill. And this parish has a rolling topography. And basically the roll is because of places where streams have cut down their channels, and clay deposits have resisted erosion and they remain relatively high. And we're basically walking through a cut that this stream has made into a clay hill. And so you're going to see lots of this red clay. Yeah, I guess it's been, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes since I last checked in. Stream channel is getting deeper. Now the surrounding bank is probably 20, 25 feet above me. As I've walked along this sandy bottom channel, I'm noticing that there's lots of other creatures that move along this. There's tracks all over the place, which I'm fine with that. I mean, there's deer tracks, there's raccoon tracks, possum tracks, especially by water. Oh, I can show you that right here instead of just talking about it. So here we got some raccoon or possum tracks. No, I don't know the exact number or the exact identification. Sorry about that. But what I'm more worried about is what we see over here. And that is one species of wildlife I don't want to encounter on this, because I am kind of confined by these steep banks all around me. And when I see this, I know wild hogs have been here. Our place, just like much of, the U.S. is inhabited by wild hogs, and they really leave a pretty distinct marker. Sorry about the jumpiness, but I'm getting eaten up right now. They just root, turning over soil, and they can be aggressive. That's why I'm not interested in running into a wild hog on this trip. However, wouldn't mind seeing some deer, and I've got a pretty nasty section up here to navigate. Not sure how I'm gonna go about it, but if we move up a little bit, you see that there's been, let me zoom out. I don't know, my zoom's not working so great right now. Well, anyway, to the left of that log, it's a trail. Not made by humans. It's either deer or hogs. And they'll do it, moving single file through this landscape. So maybe I'll take the hog trail. Maybe I don't know, there's a good chance to see some snakes if I go through this. So I think I'm gonna go for the snakes to see what I can find. See you in a little bit. I still haven't found the stream environment that I remembered as a child. I mentioned pebbles, gravel, and I don't know what happened to my zoom. You can see it there, but I'm used to seeing a clay-bottomed creek with gravel, bigger rocks, some clay lumps that we can make dams with, but not here. And I do see, as we move on up, more signs of hogs. Man, I hope the hogs aren't here. I have just traversed 5 different nasty sections, and on each one of them, the hogs and the deer, don't know which, they chose to do a bypass. So they're smarter than me, maybe. Let's keep going, see what we find. In the background, you probably hear some machinery. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully. Because at some point I gotta get up this bank. Or I could go up that bank. Actually, it's not that bad. If you don't mind sweating. Briars. I'm getting a little dirty. All right, ever onward. Hey, I finally found it, sorta. Here's a little section that looks like what the creek used to look like. There's clay bottom. There's the clay clumps. And there's gravel. Well, it's close to what it looked like. And there's even water. Not really flowing, but abundant in frog life. Let's keep going. So, remember I said this is our little Grand Canyon? And we're talking about this place where you get some, instead of red sandstone, it's red clay, some vertical walls. No, it's not a Grand Canyon, but in Louisiana, what do you expect? This is kind of neat though, because you can see that over time we're getting a more complicated system of drainage. And there's some, man, that's some pretty neat clay lumps where there's been, not recent cutting, there's been cutting here, revealing the clay lumps at the base. And you see that clay wall. Man, it's beautiful stuff. And pretty much in the shade, so that's kind of nice. So we are getting close to our Grand Canyon. And I appreciate y'all for playing along with that characterization of this low energy Louisiana stream. Wow. If a hog was to meet me on this stream bed road, it'd be him or me. Because these are some pretty steep walls. Yeah, I don't see a lot of ways to get up. The hogs can be aggressive. My grandfather, not my grandfather, my dad, when he worked the farm, he always had a pistol to protect himself. That seemed like overkill. My brother, who takes walks out here every day, he brings a baseball bat, which seems kind of silly. But the hogs can be aggressive. Oh, look at those big clay lumps. So, I'm hoping I don't see one. This has been a little disappointing because we got all kinds of snakes in Louisiana. And I keep waiting to find one or several. Oh, look at the ripples. Oh, so water does flow here. But we haven't had much rain so far since I've been here. Maybe this afternoon. I think y'all got a pretty good idea of our Grand Canyon. With its clay walls, nice shady environment. Unfortunately, scattered pieces of trash. And I think maybe it's time to go back downstream, find a little place where I can scramble up and go see who's making all that noise. Not the birds, but the heavy machinery. Oh, man. But once I get in this and I walk up it, it's hard to leave this environment because it's really kind of neat. Oh, look, we got a stovetop. Let's see. I guess the creek is just where you're supposed to put a stove when you're done with it. Ho, 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 ho. This is a nice shot. We could get rid of the trash. Now, what do we have here? Ah, some corrugated tin roofing. Great. Put it in the creek. Man, there's a lot of green. And red. Okay, I'm gonna go up. What if I climb up that thing right there? Good thing this clay is not that wet. It'd be slippery. No, I'm not making it up that. Let's see. Okay, folks. I say, time to turn around. Go see what's making that noise. So with your permission, I'll turn around. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta tell my mom. What we got right here is, let's see, move it around a little bit. Oh yeah, those are muscadimes. That's a native grape. My mom's growing some on her porch, on her deck. And we got some growing on one of the fence rows out here. But it's a native plant that my mother and father, in the fall, they go crazy for picking muscadimes. Some folks make a wine out of it, makes a real sweet wine. My mom I don't know, she makes cobblers. She makes like a fruit roll up out of muscadimes. And yeah, September, October, that's the time. I have to tell my mom, get in the creek, mama, there's muscadimes. Yeah, she's tough, but I don't know if she wants to do this. But let's head downstream, climb up one of these banks. Unfortunately, you won't get to see me do that, but I'm pretty good at climbing. And then we'll go find out what's making all that noise. Not the birds. I hate to leave the channel, but I want to get out without having to climb over all those logs. And I see a place that I'm pretty sure I can get up there without causing any damage to me. Now let's rotate here and rotate up. Yeah, I'm gonna go up, scramble through there, and hopefully I don't come out in a briar patch, but it's happened before. And I'll just come back down if that's the case. Here we go. Everything's a teachable moment. In the foreground, you see either slash or loblolly pines. They're about 4 years old. Man, look how densely packed they are. And they'll be logged if the pulpwood price is high. Above them, wrong way. Above them, you see some pine trees that they're not on our property. That marks where the property ends, western boundary. The landowner over there looks like he's planning on growing his pine trees for lumber. You might be wondering why we got all these little paths in our forest, and I can explain that to you. Dang it. Okay, there's one path. You'll see there's a path over here, and that's all part of another part of the farm. We lease it to a hunting club, and yeah, currently hunting is not a very strenuous activity. Not at all like my grandfather and my father, me and my brothers learned. It's mostly on four-wheelers, taking hunters to stands. And the stands are really nice. I've lived in some apartments that are not as nice as some of their deer stands. And they sit up there. Often it's next to a feeder where they train the deer where to come. Yeah, that's why we have trails. Sorry if my lack of enthusiasm is clear. Now, let's see what's going on, where that noise is coming from. Hey, I think I see something. I had zoom, I don't know what happened to it. And we just have to walk up there. See if Junior or Mr. James is there. You see John Deere. He's there. There's John Deere, there's Volvo, making noise. Could hear them 100 yards to the north, down in the creek channel. You've seen that color. And that's the clay. And this is the most recent economic activity on the Brady farm. I just got to get out of the sun. For about 5 years, my dad has had an agreement with a family, the Ringo family, live up the road, and they mine clay just like the clay, just like, oh wait a minute, what we got here? I wonder if Junior's in there today. I doubt he'll want to talk. He's a quiet fella. No, they mine clay and they send it all over this part of the state. They use it for building house pads. So in relatively low areas that a subdivision is going in, they need to build up the elevation for the houses so they don't flood. Well, they'll use our clay. Parks departments, when they're fixing up their baseball fields, pitchers' mounds, they'll come get our clay. And so Junior and Mr. James, they've been doing clay here about 5 years. I might go on Google Earth because you can see from Google Earth. Man, I'm hoping they dig me a pit so we can have a lake at some point, and I'll build a house out here on the lakeside. Just walk a while. I started this trip walking on a gravel road. It's called Folly Brown Road. And I've told you in one of these installments that Google Earth Street View, they haven't sent their car and camera down that road. Maybe Google's got something against gravel roads. When Junior and Mr. James are working, when they got a heavy demand for clay, they're putting some big trucks on that road. But man, they are nice people, because they put gravel on the road because they realize that they're putting some serious wear and tear on it. And here's the clay that my grandfather never thought of it as a economic resource, and my dad, he did. And so every truckload that we see go down Folly Brown Road represents a little bit of money going to the farm to pay for tractor repair, materials so we can fix fences, stuff like that. With some gorgeous clouds. It's easy walking today on this road. If it had rained last night, it'd be a whole nother thing, because clay gets slick. And so Junior and Mr. James regularly put pea gravel on the road to improve traction. But man, Mama said it rained 3 inches last week. But man, it looks like it hadn't rained for a long time. Need to look and see if we see any blackberries. So, oops. Yep. Oh yeah. Gotta tell Mama about this bush. Sweet. Just tried a new recipe for a cobbler. Blackberry cobbler last night. It was good. I like when 86-year-olds decide they want to try something new, learn new things. It's a good model for all of us. She's trying out recipes because her Master Gardener course ends, I think it's tomorrow. And there's going to be a big celebration. And it's her job to bring a dessert. And so she's bringing blackberry cobbler. She's become an expert. Oh, wait a minute, here we go. There's a deer blind. And you might think I was exaggerating, because obviously don't share a great deal of enthusiasm about this economic activity on the farm. But yeah, we get paid. But I do want to show you how unsporting hunting has become since I was learning to hunt on this place. So here we go. Got a pathway. You can drive a pickup truck down here. Got a deer blind. The hunting group that's leasing the land, it's a scaffolding company. So you see the scaffolding that they use to elevate the blind, which, man, they got windows, they probably got screens. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a window unit. But if you look farther down, come on Gizmo, look farther down, you see a tripod with a cylinder on it. 2 tripods. Those are feeders. They put out corn. The deer learn, hey, this is where we eat. And a deer hunter learns, hey, this is where I shoot. They got these things all over the place. They're nice guys. Just different. All right, let's get back out and let's see if I can come up with another teachable moment. So my grandfather, when he was farming this slope, this clay hill, he didn't grow cotton here. He grew pasture. The soil wasn't so great for cotton, but there we go. Here comes money. He grew pasture on bad land, cotton on good land. And my grandfather, when he bought this land in the 30s, maybe late 20s, chose a good spot. We're gonna let Mr. Ringo come by. Hey! Yeah, that's money. Okay, sorry about shooting in the sun, folks, but I had to come out this morning to do this. Oh, there you can see a cleared area where we, that's from the lumber harvest from last fall. But you see we're coming down off the hill, getting into flatlands. That flatland is basically the Amite River's floodplain. It's got rich soils, nice, loamy, kind of high clay content soils. And so that's where my grandfather grew cotton. And he grew cotton, way back, almost all the way to the river, not to those river fields that regularly flood. So I said he chose a good piece of land. He got land that was floodplain land, and he was a mile away from the channel of the river, and so he never flooded. His house never flooded. His fields did. But yeah, I guess now his highland area, which was just for pasture, it's growing trees, and it's also where our clay operation is, our clay pit. His cotton environment, or the floodplain, it's also growing trees. It does it really well. Look over there again. Yep, those tall trees, that's the creek we were in. We just did a little loop. Not a very long one, but with scrambling over trees, scrambling through briars, took a while. and then stopping at every possible teachable moment. Oh, we got a mockingbird on that pole up there. Mockingbird, so named because it has so many calls. And some people say that it mocks other birds or it copies their calls. Okay. And there's the old cattle pond, which has become an iris pond. Another thing my dad came up with. A shallow pond, just throw iris bulbs there. Don't even dig a hole, you just throw them in. And they do great. And since my dad's passing, we've all continued his practice. Not a lot of traffic on Folly Brown Road. And this gravel is taken from a gravel pit that's just downstream of the Amite River that I showed you yesterday. The Amite River is a wild and scenic river, but not through its whole course. And so just about a mile, but about 3 river miles south of our place, there's a giant complex of gravel pits. It really just messes up the river, increases flooding because it changes the channel characteristics. The channel's a lot flatter, or channel's a lot shallower. And torrential rainfall, which we do get, causes an increase in flash flooding. And let's see, we're back at the barn. Hey, barn. And there's the house. I gotta lock things up. I'm going to town because I'm helping my brother. We're cleaning out the creek by my mom's house in town, about 10 miles away. We'll find some snakes there, but I'm not gonna be filming. I guess we can shut it down.